Dr. David Bronstein, who treated his 37 COVID patients with hydrogen peroxide nebulizer, a vitamin regimen, and ozone therapy, and all of them were cured. The other 93 patients were successfully treated by Dr. Howard Robbins in New York, Dr. Howard Leibowitz from Los Angeles, and Dr. Robert Rowan in Santa Rosa, California. Other medical doctors who have successfully disabled the COVID virus with ozone therapy include Dr. Kojo Karu from Sierra Leone, Dr. Luigi Valdanasi from Italy, and Dr. Lance Evans from Ecuador, who wrote Dr. Rowan to inform him that he successfully treated 32 COVID patients, and I quote, "a third of whom would have died had they not received ozone therapy." So why, you might ask, is this not generally known? And the answer is going to astound you. I'm going to hold up this letter to the camera. It's a warning letter from the FTC. Note the bold lettering warning therapists not to mention that they treat COVID patients, or the U.S. government will prosecute them. The date of this letter is April 20th, the same month that Dr. Hernandez announced his success to Ryan King in the Ozone. As I stated at the outset, this is very simple. The FDA has called ozone a toxic gas with no medical application. The FDA cannot be right if Dr. Hernandez is right. The FDA cannot be right if Drs. Robbins, Leibowitz, Rowan, Carew, Valdanasi, Bronstein, and Dr. Evans are right. Keep in mind that these doctors are not speculating or theorizing. They're on the front lines treating COVID patients at this very moment, and based on my questioning of them, I know, counting the doctors from Europe, Africa, and South America, that they have successfully treated collectively several hundred COVID patients with a loss of life minimal. Those dying have been ICU patients on their last legs. Ozone therapy needs to be given immediately to ICU and COVID patients, not wait as a last resort. But the reason why you are hearing this for the first time is threefold. Because the FDA has denigrated ozone therapy and Google has placed this information at the top of the search engine. That's number one. Number two, the mainstream media such as the New York Times, Washington Post, Time, etc., and every cable news talking head you can think of like Wolf Blitzer, Anderson Cooper, and Rachel Maddow, all of them have simply refused to report on Dr. Hernandez's findings. I know because I sent this report to them multiple times. Tell me this is not crazy. The FTC has sent ozone therapists warning letters, that's the third reason, warning them that if they advertise their success in treating COVID patients, the U.S. government will actually sue them. That is why I state that the reason for this pandemic is not the virus, but rather two factions of the U.S. government who have done everything they can to denigrate the one therapy known to kill this virus, and do it fairly easily. There are three other points I would like to make. Google the name Paul Wentworth, a chemist from Scripps Institute, and you will find that in 2001, that's over 20 years ago, Wentworth, working with medical doctor Richard Lerner, discovered that our own antibodies manufacture ozone for the express purpose of disabling incoming pathogens, including bacteria and viruses. What this means is that Mother Nature has learned literally over the span, I'm not kidding, over several hundred million years of evolution, 100 million years of evolution, that it is through chance mutation and survival of the fittest that the best way for the immune system to protect the animal, in this instance the human, from emerging viruses, is to produce ozone as one of the key enzymes that it uses to destroy the virus. Let me make this as clear as possible. This YouTube is in no way, shape, or form against vaccines. Frankly, I think they are essential in stopping the spread of this virus and in protecting those who become infected. However, what you have never read in the literally thousands of articles recently published on COVID vaccines is how they work. What the vaccine is an impotent section from the spike of the COVID virus. The vaccine is not made from the virus itself, but rather from a piece of the handle that the virus needs to enter the host. So here you see the virus. Here is the spike. This is the virus. You're not given this. You're given a little piece of this. An analogous situation would be how to get into a locked house. You use a key to turn the lock and then you can enter. The virus works the same way. The virus cannot enter the house or the body without the key, and that key is its spike. So an independent section of the spike is placed inside the vaccine, and you build an antibody against the spike. If the spike is disabled, the virus dies because it can't get into the house. Now, what they don't tell you is how the vaccine works. Vaccine doesn't kill anything. What the vaccine does is alert your body to create an antibody specific to the COVID virus. Then when the virus is inhaled, you already have a head start as a way to kill the virus. And the way you do that is the antibody surrounds the spike, and then destructive enzymes within the antibody dissolves and kills the spike, thereby removing the key that the virus needs to enter the body. The enzymes that it uses include forms of ozone and its derivatives such as hydrogen peroxide. That is what Paul Wentworth and the chemist from Scripps Institute discovered. Now, if Paul Wentworth is right, namely that over hundreds of millions of years Mother Nature came upon a way to manufacture the powerful disinfectant ozone for the express purpose of killing incoming pathogens, including bacteria and viruses, then the FDA has to be wrong. Dead wrong. 800,000 dead wrong. The FDA statement that ozone is a toxic gas with no medical application is just flat out wrong. And if the FDA is wrong, then it is clear that they, in coordination with the FTC, denigrated the very medical procedure that we should have used at the beginning of this pandemic to disable the emerging virus. Now the question is, why would the FDA and FTC denigrate the one medical procedure that could have stopped this pandemic right from the start? Is it possible they needed to give Big Pharma the time it needed to produce their vaccines? I'm sure you realize have reaped many billions of dollars from this pandemic. Is that a coincidence? I'll leave it for you to decide for yourself. Whether the FDA and FTC conspired with Big Pharma to stop the medical procedure that could have ended this pandemic from the start or not is beyond the scope of this YouTube. What is certain, however, is that the positions of the FDA and FTC are easily disproved. Through their actions, the one procedure known to kill the COVID virus was blocked, and the result, as you well know, is the total destruction of our normal way of life, suffering on an unimaginable scale, and the deaths of 800,000 Americans, over 3 times the number of casualties killed during World War II, 15 times the number that died in Vietnam. We have a 9/11 situation every 3 days, with another 1,000 dying every day, day after day after day. All of this is explained in detail in my forthcoming book, Ozone's Achilles Heel, A Rational Pathway Out of Any Pandemic. 3 of my co-authors are ozone therapists and medical doctors, Dr. Howard Robbins, Dr. Robert Rowan, and Dr. Gerard Sonnen. I will leave you with a quote from Dr. Peter Papadakos, medical doctor, director of critical care medicine, University of Rochester, professor of anesthesiology and neurosurgery, who states that by affecting cysteine, ozone therapy disrupts viral proteins, lipoproteins, lipids, and glycolipids in the actual virus. As a result, ozone creates a dysfunctional virus which cannot replicate. This quote is from an article, 2 Synergistic Adjutant Therapies, Vitamin C and Ozone Therapy, which may help kill the COVID virus, by Bob Kromeyer in Anesthesiology News, June 10th, 2020. If you'd like more information on my book, COVID's Achilles Heel, please contact the publisher, Inner Traditions. Thank you.